Hey there. Ever looked up at a stormy sky and felt that mix of awe and maybe I should head inside?
Oh, yeah.
We're doing a deep dive into thunderstorms today,
All
and
right.
I've got some seriously cool facts to share.
Okay.
Get this, lightning is actually hotter than the surface of the sun.
Wow.
Yeah, you heard that right. But before we get to that, let's unpack how these powerful storms even form in the first place.
Okay, sure.
Oh,
It all starts with warm, moist air.
okay.
As this air rises,
Mm-hmm.
it cools and condenses,
Mm-hmm.
forming those towering clouds we call cumulonimbus clouds.
Right.
They're a pretty good indicator that a thunderstorm might be brewing.
Okay, so we've got the clouds, but where does all that electricity come from? It's not like there's a power outlet up in the sky.
Right. That's where the real magic happens.
Uh-huh.
Inside these clouds, you've got updrafts and downdrafts.
Okay.
Powerful winds moving up and down.
Mm-hmm.
They cause tiny ice crystals to collide.
Okay.
And all that bumping around creates static electricity. You know, like when you rub a balloon on your hair and it stands on end?
Yeah.
Same principle, but on a much grander scale.
So all that built-up static electricity eventually has to go somewhere, right?
Yeah,
Enter lightning.
exactly. Lightning is that sudden release of energy,
Okay.
a visible discharge of electricity, like a giant spark leaping across the sky.
Uh-huh.
And remember what we said about it being hotter than the sun?
Yeah.
Well, that intense heat causes the air around the lightning bolt to expand explosively.
I see.
That's what we hear as thunder.
Whoa.
It's like a sonic boom created by pure energy.
Wow. That's incredible. So we've got the formation down, the electricity explained.
Yeah,
But thunderstorms aren't just these static events. They actually go through different phases, don't they?
absolutely. Think of it like a dramatic play with 3 acts.
Interesting.
Act 1 is the developing stage,
Okay.
where the storm is just getting started.
Mm-hmm.
Those updrafts we talked about are feeding the growth of that cumulonimbus cloud, making it bigger and more powerful. Then comes Act 2, the mature stage.
Oh, okay.
This is where the real action is. You've got heavy rain, lightning, those booming thunderclaps,
Mm-hmm.
maybe even some hail thrown in for good measure.
So that's when the storm is at its peak intensity.
Right.
Sounds like a good time to be indoors.
Yeah.
But what about Act 3?
Act 3 is the dissipating stage.
Okay.
The storm's energy starts to wind down.
All right.
Downdrafts take over, the rain eases up,
Mm-hmm.
and eventually the storm fades away, leaving behind that fresh, clean smell we all love.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing how these storms pack so much drama into
Yeah.
a relatively short lifespan.
Mm-hmm.
But let's focus on lightning for a bit,
Okay.
because that's got to be one of the most captivating
Yeah,
and dangerous aspects of a thunderstorm, right?
you bet. Lightning is basically nature's fireworks display, but with a lot more power.
Uh-huh.
And it's not just about those bolts you see hitting the ground.
Oh, right.
Lightning can happen within a cloud,
Ah.
between clouds, and of course between the cloud and the ground. Right. Okay. It all depends on where that electrical imbalance is strongest.
And let's not forget that mind-blowing fact about lightning being hotter than the sun's surface.
It's wild.
I mean, how is that even possible?
It's true. Lightning can reach a scorching 50,000 degrees Fahrenheit,
Wow.
5 times hotter than the sun's surface.
Gosh.
And that incredible heat is why it's so dangerous.
Right.
It can trigger fires,
Yeah.
cause power outages, and if someone is directly hit, well, the consequences can be devastating.
Yeah.
It's not something to take lightly.
Definitely not. Now, I know it's not a one-size-fits-all situation when it comes to thunderstorms.
Right.
There are actually different types of thunderstorms, right?
You got it. Think of them like different breeds of dog.
Okay.
They all share some basic characteristics,
Uh-huh.
but they also have their own unique personalities.
Interesting.
The most common type is the air mass thunderstorm.
Okay.
These pop up when warm, humid air rises quickly, usually on those sweltering summer days.
Right.
You might see heavy rain, gusty winds, hail, and lightning with these storms.
Okay, so those are the classic summer storms. What
Yeah.
other kinds are there?
Well, you've got frontal thunderstorms, which form along weather fronts.
Right.
You know, there's boundaries between warm and cold air masses.
Yeah.
When these air masses clash, it can create instability in the atmosphere,
I
and
hate-
boom, thunderstorms erupt.
So the type of front involved cold, warm, or even stationary can influence the kind of thunderstorm we get.
Exactly. Then you've got mountain thunderstorms, which
Yeah.
form when air is forced upwards by, you guessed it, mountains. This rising air cools and condenses, leading to the formation of these storms, especially during spring and summer.
And I'm guessing the terrain can make some of the hazards worse, right?
Yeah.
Like flash floods.
You're spot on. Mountain thunderstorms can unleash heavy rain and hail.
Wow.
Add steep slopes to the mix, and
Yeah.
you've got a recipe for flash flooding.
Makes sense. Now, we can't talk about thunderstorms without mentioning the ones that really make headlines. Supercells. They're the rock stars of the thunderstorm world, aren't they?
Supercells are definitely the heavy hitters.
Ah, yeah.
What sets them apart is a rotating updraft called a mesocyclone.
Okay.
It's this spinning motion that gives them the potential to produce tornadoes, giant hail, damaging winds, and torrential rain. And they can last for hours,
Really?
unlike those shorter-lived air mass thunderstorms.
Wow, so those severe weather outbreaks we hear about are often linked to supercell.
Exactly. Now let's shift gears to a more laid-back type of thunderstorm, the sea breeze thunderstorm.
Oh, okay.
These form along coastlines because of temperature differences between the land and the sea.
So these are the ones that pop up in the afternoon near the beach during the summer months.
You got it. They're usually not as intense as other types, but they can still pack a punch with heavy rain, gusty winds, and lightning.
Right.
So it's always good to be weather aware if you're enjoying a day at the beach.
Great point. We've covered a lot of ground so far.
Yeah, we have.
We know how thunderstorms form, the different stages they go through,
Right.
the various types out there, and that crazy fact about lightning being hotter than the sun.
It's pretty amazing.
But now let's get to the part that really matters.
Yeah.
What makes these storms so dangerous?
Yeah.
And how can we stay safe when they roll in?
That's what we'll tackle next. Buckle up, because we're about to dive into the hazards of thunderstorms and how you can weather the storm safely. All right, let's get down to business and talk about why it's so important to take thunderstorms seriously.
Yeah.
They're not just impressive light shows,
Right.
they come with some real hazards.
Right, because as captivating as those lightning bolts might be, they can also pack a dangerous punch.
Exactly. One of the biggest dangers is heavy rain,
Oh, yeah?
which can lead to flash flooding.
Right.
Those floodwaters can rise rapidly, damaging property and making roads treacherous. Gosh, it's not something you want to get caught in.
Definitely not. And it's not just the rain we have to worry about, is it?
Nope. Strong winds are another major hazard.
Okay.
They can snap tree branches,
Mm-hmm.
uproot entire trees, damage buildings, and send debris flying through the air.
So those winds can turn everyday objects into dangerous projectiles.
Absolutely. And then there's hail,
Right.
which
yeah.
can range in size from tiny pellets to huge chunks of ice.
Oh, wow.
Hail can damage crops, dent cars,
Mm.
and even break windows.
Oh, gosh.
And if you're caught outside during a hailstorm, well, it can feel like you're being pelted with rocks.
Ouch. Okay, so we've got heavy rain, strong winds, and hail.
Yeah.
And, of course, we can't forget about lightning, which we've already touched upon.
Right, lightning is a serious threat.
Right.
It can spark fires,
Mm-hmm.
cause power surges that fry electronics, and,
Right.
and of course, directly strike people or animals,
Yeah.
leading to serious injuries or even death.
Whoosh.
It's the electrical hazard of the storm world.
And let's not forget about the most dramatic hazard of all. Tornadoes. Those are often associated with those powerful supercell thunderstorms, right?
Exactly. Tornadoes are violently rotating columns of air that extend from a thunderstorm to the ground.
Oh,
They can pack winds of over 200 miles per hour,
wow.
and they can level homes, toss cars around like toys,
Oh, my God.
and cause widespread devastation.
God.
They're the most destructive force a thunderstorm can unleash.
Okay, so we've got a pretty good understanding of the hazards now.
Yeah.
Heavy rain, strong winds, hail, lightning, and tornadoes.
Right.
It sounds like a good time to stay indoors. But realistically, what can people do to stay safe when a thunderstorm strikes?
The golden rule is to seek shelter indoors
Okay.
or in a hardtop vehicle.
Right.
Stay away from windows, doors, and anything that conducts electricity.
Uh-huh.
If you're caught outside and can't get indoors,
Yeah.
try to find a low-lying area away from tall trees, water, and metal objects.
So basically, avoid anything that might attract lightning or put you at risk of being hit by flying debris.
Exactly. And once you're in a safe place,
Yeah.
unplug electronic devices to protect them from power surges.
Right.
And if you're boating or swimming,
Yeah.
get to land as quickly as possible.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, there's that 30-30 rule I've heard about. Can you explain that?
Absolutely. It's a simple but effective guideline for staying safe during and after a thunderstorm.
Okay.
Basically, if you see lightning, start counting. If you hear thunder within 30 seconds,
Right.
that means the storm is close enough to pose a threat,
Yeah.
and you should immediately seek shelter.
Okay.
Then, after the last clap of thunder,
Uh-huh.
wait at least 30 minutes before resuming any outdoor activities.
So it's all about being patient and giving the storm time to move on before venturing back outside.
Exactly. It's better to be safe than sorry.
Right.
Now, let's shift gears a bit and talk about how we actually know when these storms are coming. Meteorologists play a vital role in forecasting thunderstorms.
Right.
They're like the storm detectives,
Right.
using a bunch of tools and technology to track these weather events.
It sounds like they have a pretty cool job. So what kind of tools are we talking about?
Well, one of their main tools is weather radar.
Oh,
It's like a giant X-ray machine for the atmosphere.
right.
It sends out radio waves that bounce off precipitation particles like raindrops and hail.
Okay.
By analyzing the reflected signals,
Mm-hmm.
meteorologists can pinpoint the location, intensity, and movement of storms.
Uh-huh.
It's like having a real-time map of the storm's path.
So they can actually see where the storm is headed and how strong it is.
Exactly. And then there are weather satellites, which give us a bird's eye view of weather patterns from space.
Right.
They can track storm development,
Uh-huh.
monitor atmospheric conditions,
Right.
and even detect things like lightning strikes.
Wow. So it's a combination of ground-based radar and space-based satellites
Yeah.
working together to give us the most accurate picture of what's brewing in the atmosphere.
You got it. And on top of that, meteorologists use sophisticated computer models to simulate atmospheric conditions and predict how storms might develop and move.
It sounds like they're constantly analyzing data and crunching numbers to stay ahead of these storms.
They are, and that's how they can provide us with those crucial short-term and long-term forecasts.
Okay.
Short-term forecasts focus on immediate threats, like
Right.
whether a thunderstorm is about to hit your area in the next hour or two.
Yeah.
Long-term forecasts look at broader weather patterns and help us anticipate the likelihood of thunderstorms over the coming days or weeks.
So they're not just telling us what's happening right now, but also what we can expect down the road.
Right.
That's incredibly valuable information.
It is. And it allows us to be proactive about our safety.
Yeah.
We can adjust our plans, secure loose objects outdoors,
Yeah.
and make sure we're ready if a storm does roll in.
All right, we've talked about the hazards of thunderstorms, the ways to stay safe,
Right.
and the amazing technology that helps us predict these storms.
Yeah.
What else is there to explore about these fascinating phenomena?
Well, we could delve into the cultural impact of thunderstorms.
Oh, okay.
How they've inspired myths and legends,
Interesting.
or even the role they play in our planet's ecosystems.
Oh, that sounds intriguing. Let's talk about the cultural side of things.
Sure.
I'm curious how different cultures have interpreted and responded to these powerful storms throughout history.
It's fascinating stuff. In many ancient cultures, thunderstorms were seen as both awe-inspiring and terrifying,
Right.
often attributed to the actions of gods or supernatural beings.
I can totally see that. I mean, imagine witnessing a raging thunderstorm without any scientific understanding of what's causing it.
Right.
It would definitely feel like a display of divine power.
Exactly. And those beliefs shaped their myths, rituals, and even their daily lives.
Wow.
For example, some Native American cultures viewed thunderstorms as a time for purification and renewal,
Okay.
believing that the rain washed away negativity,
Interesting.
and that the thunder and lightning helped to restore balance to the natural world.
It's amazing how these storms have woven themselves into the fabric of human storytelling and belief systems.
It really is, and it highlights the profound connection between humans and the natural world.
It's incredible how those early beliefs have evolved into our current scientific understanding, isn't it?
It really is. But, even with all our scientific knowledge,
Yeah.
there's still a sense of mystery and awe surrounding thunderstorms.
Right.
Maybe it's the sheer power they display or
Yeah.
the unpredictable nature of lightning.
I agree. There's a certain primal fascination we have with these storms, a reminder of the forces of nature that are beyond our control.
Right.
And speaking of control, one thing that's always intrigued me is how we've tried to harness the power of lightning throughout history,
Oh, absolutely.
like Benjamin Franklin and his famous kite experiment.
Right, exactly.
Franklin's experiment, though somewhat mythologized,
Yeah.
was a pivotal moment in our understanding of electricity.
Mm-hmm.
By flying a kite with a key attached during a thunderstorm,
Right.
he demonstrated that lightning was indeed a form of electrical discharge.
It was a risky experiment for sure,
Oh, yeah.
but it paved the way for further research and ultimately led to the development of lightning rods, which helped to protect buildings from lightning strikes.
Speaking of protection, let's talk about some of the more modern technologies we use to mitigate the risks associated with thunderstorms.
Okay.
You mentioned lightning rods, but what about things like weather forecasting and early warning systems?
Those are absolutely crucial. Advancements in weather forecasting have significantly improved our ability to predict thunderstorms,
Yeah.
giving people time to prepare and seek shelter.
Right?
And early warning systems, such as sirens and mobile phone alerts,
Mm-hmm.
provide real-time notifications of approaching storms, helping to save lives and reduce damage.
It's amazing how technology has given us an edge in dealing with these powerful natural events.
It is.
But like you mentioned earlier, technology is just one piece of the puzzle.
Right.
Education and awareness are equally important.
Couldn't agree more. By understanding how thunderstorms work,
Yeah.
recognizing the hazards they pose,
Mhm.
and knowing how to stay safe,
Right.
we can all be more resilient in the face of these storms.
So to wrap things up, what are some key takeaways our listeners should remember about thunderstorms?
First and foremost, respect the power of nature.
Right.
Thunderstorms are awe-inspiring,
Yeah.
but also potentially dangerous.
Yeah.
Second, be prepared,
Okay.
know the forecast,
Uh-huh.
have a plan in place,
Right.
and be ready to seek shelter when necessary.
Okay.
And third, stay informed.
Right.
Pay attention to weather alerts, trust the experts, and don't underestimate the risks.
Great advice. You know,
Alright.
as we've been discussing these incredible storms, I've been thinking about my own experiences with thunderstorms.
Oh, yeah.
I remember one particular storm from my childhood,
Mm-hmm.
the kind that makes you feel both small and exhilarated at the same time.
Right.
The sky turned an eerie shade of green.
Whoa.
The wind howled,
Yeah.
and the lightning was so intense it felt like it was striking right outside my window.
Wow.
It was crazy.
Ah, yes, the green sky phenomenon. That's often associated with severe thunderstorms,
Really?
particularly those that produce hail.
Okay.
It's thought to be caused by the way sunlight interacts with the hailstones and the storm clouds.
That's fascinating. It's amazing how even the colors of the sky can tell us something about the intensity of the storm.
It is, and it's those little details,
Yeah.
those moments of wonder and discovery that make studying weather so captivating.
Well, I think we've covered just about everything there is to know about thunderstorms,
Uh-huh. I think so.
from their formation and characteristics to their cultural significance and ecological role. It's been a truly electrifying journey.
It has.
Have you ever witnessed any of these specific thunderstorm types we discussed today?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe a supercell with its ominous rotating clouds,
Mhm.
or perhaps a sea breeze thunderstorm rolling in during a beach vacation.
And think about your own region.
Yeah.
Are there certain types of thunderstorms that are more common in your area?
Right.
Why might that be?
Knowledge is power,
It is.
especially when it comes to weather phenomena like thunderstorms.
Right.
By understanding how they work and what to do to stay safe,
Absolutely.
we can all be better prepared when those storm clouds roll in.
Exactly.
Until next time, stay curious and stay safe.